What the Business YouTube, episode 35. My name's Jay Florida, and today's career of discussion is a nurse. So what is a nurse? A nurse is a licensed healthcare professional who provides, coordinates, and manages patient care, promotes health, and prevents illnesses. Now, to give you a piece of history, nursing has existed for over 2,000 years, with the first known documentation of nursing being the hospitals that appeared around 300 AD during the Roman Empire, which sought to establish hospitals in every town. Around the mid-19th century, Florence Nightingale and her team of nurses transformed the profession into a recognized field during the Crimean War, focusing on sanitization and structured education. A few basic requirements to becoming a nurse include choosing a pathway, such as associate degree in nursing or Bachelor of Science in nursing, completing coursework and clinicals while gaining hands-on supervised patient care experience, passing the NCLEX-RN exam, and applying for a state nursing license. Now, all of this can take you anywhere from 2 to 4 years and cost you anywhere from $6,000 to $100,000 or more when considering pathways such as ADN or BSN, with BSN being the more expensive or costly of the two. As far as your range, as an entry-level nurse, you can expect to make $60,000 to $80,000, with a few things affecting how much you take home being shift differentials, certifications, overtime and bonuses, facility type, and location. A day in life as a nurse can be described as fast-paced, physically demanding, direct patient care, long shifts, administering medication, and assessing patients. As far as opportunity, barring, how much it could cost, especially when you consider FAFSA, financial aid, and these other type of programs, anybody can become a nurse if they chose to do so. And for that reason, the nurse does score green for opportunity. A few examples to take note of in this field include Clara Barton, who's known as the Angel of the Battlefield for her work during the Civil War and later founded the American Red Cross. Next, we have Mary Seacole, a Jamaican British nurse who set up the British Hotel behind lines in the Crimean War to care for wounded soldiers. And last but not least, we have Elizabeth Kenny, an Australian nurse who revolutionized the treatment of polio. Moving on to our fact moment segment of this episode, starting off with fact number 1. Chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis are among the most common STIs seen by nurses. Fact number 2. Taiwan ranks as having the best healthcare system in the world for high quality care, accessibility, and positive health. And fact number 3. A burgundy color is typically worn by a nurse to distinguish specialists or practitioners. And for our last segment, before we move on to the circle of influence, we have health risks and mitigation, starting off with exposure to bloodborne pathogens such as HIV, hepatitis B and C, and airborne diseases. Violence from patients and visitors, including verbal abuse and physical assault, particularly in emergency rooms. And exposure to radiation leading to cancer, as well as psychological deterioration due to high stress and non-stop shifts. As far as mitigation, you can participate in structured mindfulness-based stress reduction programs, yoga, or breathing exercises. Review and flag electronic health records for patients with a documented history of aggressive or combative behavior, and conduct a rapid risk assessment before every patient interaction to select correct, proper, or personal protective equipment to minimize pathogen and disease risks. Now that does it for our primary segment. I'm gonna go ahead and give the floor to my co-host, let him take over for the circle of influence. What the Business YouTube, starting off the circle of influence, we have respect. Is this a career or position that brings me respect and dignity? Now, as a nurse is described, you are treating those that are beyond their own care, promoting health, and preventing the spread of diseases, which directly prevents the spread of pain, suffering, and death. And for that reason, the nurse does score green. Moving on, we have growth. Is this a career or position that presents me with the opportunity to grow from a $100,000 earning threshold? For this segment, the nurse does score yellow, with sources online citing that the nurse has the potential to make anywhere from $150,000 to $250,000 or more in a single year. Next, we have gore. Is this a career or a position that will have me dealing with an abundance of blood, violent action, grotesque imagery, or scenery? Now, as a nurse, you could really end up dealing with anything on any given day. You could have a car crash victim, a person that has cuts, stabs, lacerations, broken bones, all of the above. And worst of all, needles. For that reason, the nurse does score red, as in yes, you will be dealing with the mentioned before. And for our last ideological standpoint, we have moral conflict. Is this a career or position that will have me compromise any of my foreseeable morals? Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't kill. The basic set of guidelines. And for this segment, the nurse does score green. Moving on to the statistical side of things, we have gender demographics, where men make up 14% of the industry and women make a total 86% of the industry. Next, we have ethnic demographics, where Caucasians make up 65% of the industry, African Americans make up 12% of the industry, and Hispanics make up 10% of the industry. For our last standpoint, we have top paying states, location demographics, no particular order, starting off with California, followed by Connecticut and Massachusetts, and finishing things off with Maryland and Nevada. Now that does it for the circle of influence. I'm gonna go ahead and give the floor back to Florida. I'm back. Just to summarize the nurse. Nurses play a very, very important part in our society that goes beyond the reason of how much money can I make. God forbid someone goes to the hospital or the ER and a nurse says, they shorted me $700, so you're getting subpar medicine. You're getting subpar treatment. On your phone doing TikTok. No, I need the best of what y'all got in here based on my condition, Granted, you do have to deal with quite a lot as far as long shifts, unruly patients, and, the spread of diseases. However, you are fairly compensated with the earning potential of up to $250,000. A silent hero position where you can get home, pour yourself a wine and glass, and pat yourself on the back. And not to mention, it is a women's dominated field. So thank you to all the beautiful women who are taking care of us in our time of need. With that being said, it does look like we have a full episode today. The word of the day is Bonanza. Self-help resources on the board. As always, I'll leave it down in the description. And to show your support, if you want to see this kind of content more often, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys on episode 36.